Hi, please welcome our guest, an English literature graduate, teacher, and living proof that sleep is optional when hyperfixation kicks in. By
Very
day,
true.
she juggles parenthood like a pro. By night, she transforms into a fully nocturnal author. Fueled by sheer focus and probably caffeine, she wrote her debut novel, The Blood Plagues, in under 6 months and then casually edited it in just 2 more. Because when she locks in, she locks in. Overachiever? Maybe. Legend? Absolutely. Am I getting hair envy? Of course. It's Anavrin.
Woo! Hello, Stu. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Thank you for coming. Oh my God. Do you like my my bird poo?
Your bird poo. Oh, you've got the texture spot on, the little lumps and everything. For those that have read the first 10 chapters, they know what that is. It's fantastic. I want you to send that to me. I want you to put a little pin on it, and I'm going to wear it with pride. My badge of honour, quite literally. It's so good.
Gosh. Right, so I've got my drink of choice, which is believe it or not, it's actually a mushroom and a cup of tea.
But I can acknowledge that cup is phallic because it really is. Okay, so my drink of choice, I've got a spicy margarita with a sugar rim, not salt, because, savoury drink needs a bit of sweetness, garnish with lime, and then for hydration, some iced water. So I'm double drinked up on a Saturday.
Keep it. I know, how the pivot has changed.
Indeed. What are you drinking out of that mug? You did say, and I just blacked out for a second. So,
a cup of tea with a spoon of honey.
Yeah, very sensible.
We'll break the ice. Not like it needs breaking, because I think it's shattered. But anyway, let's play our first game of the session, which is Tit or Tat.
Okay, let's do it.
So you have to choose one or the other. A bit like, those things on Instagram in the bookish community, and it's like paperback or hardback, and you circle it and you put it on your stories, and everyone loves it.
Yeah, like this or that sort of thing. Yeah. Would you
rather? So we've called it Tit or Tat. So it's super fast.
Okay.
No thinking, just spit it out.
Cool.
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Paper or hardback?
Hardback.
Kindle or physical?
Kindle.
Library or bookshop?
Library.
First or third person?
First.
Realism or fantasy?
Fantasy.
Love triangle or steady romance?
Love triangle when it's done right. When it's done right.
Time travel or alternate universe?
Alternative universe.
Limited edition or basic bish?
Love a limited edition, but I also think... Yeah, I'll stick with my first answer. No changes. So I was trying to cheat the system there. Limited edition.
Do you read them?
No, they just sit around as trophies, and I don't really touch them actually. But
And they just look pretty and collect
They're
dust.
there to be aesthetically appreciated, aren't they?
Exactly.
They know what they are. They're not trying to be anything else.
No, just for show.
Exactly.
Reread favourites or new book every time?
Reread favourites.
Thick or slim books?
Thick boys, definitely.
I like a thick one.
Yeah. The floppier the better. And that's the only time I will ever say that. You know what I mean, though? When that book has the hang, like it's limp.
Like an orchid, because they're technically supposed to hang low.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you buy them from a shop.
Orchids, to be honest.
When you buy them from a shop, they put them on stalks.
Yeah.
Ease of transport. I don't know.
We haven't even got through this game. We've completely derailed.
Way off. Oh, whatever.
Anyway, yeah. So flaccid orchids. Let's next.
Yes. What was that in reference to? Thick or slim? Right. Fast paced or slow build?
Slow build.
Cliffhanger or wrapped up ending?
If it's the final one in the series, wrapped up ending, but I don't mind books in a series if they end on a cliffhanger.
Nice. Cliffhanger. Oh no, I've just done that. Multiple point of views or single?
Multiple point of views every time.
Friends to lovers or lovers to enemies?
Lovers to enemies. Lovers to enemies is a really interesting one, and it's not done as much.
I think this is quite popular actually, that I'm seeing on like Bookstagram and BookTube and things.
Yeah.
That there needs to be more rep for it, because actually that is what happens in reality, isn't it?
Absolutely. And how, like, especially because so many books explore relationships from when the characters are quite young. And we all know in our real life, like, how much we mature and grow from like 19 to 29. You become different people. So there's quite a lot of room there, I think, to explore more, you know, lovers to enemies, and how, they go in two opposite directions.
Love it. Right. New Year reading goals, or just wing it?
Wing it. Don't set goals.
Absolutely. Yeah. I did set a 15-book goal last year, and I ended up doing 35 books. So I was like, I am acing this.
That's so good. I'm just not a big goal setter in general, to be honest. Like, I know everyone believes like the power of manifestation and things like that, but like, look at me. Do you think I've stuck to a New Year's resolution in the last 10 years? Absolutely not.
She says with a margarita in her hand.
I was meant to be.
It's fine. You did January. Did you do January?
If anything, I drank more. I've never done dry January in my life. Absolutely not. Life's too short. Life's too short for that. Cannot be dealing with that.
Right. No. Rainy day reading or sunny day reading?
Rainy day.
Yes. Oh, always. It's the pitter-patter. I love it.
Against the window panes.
Yes. Chocolate or biscuits?
Chocolate. Yeah.
Owl or pigeon?
Owl. They've always been, haven't they, like birds with a sense of mystery around them and symbolism. Yeah. And they're just, enigmatic in a way that pigeons are not, unfortunately. No hate to pigeons, but they just don't carry the same weight, do they?
No.
Have you ever seen a pigeon nest? Sorry.
Yeah, I have actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It was a mess.
It's like one lonesome twig and a wrapper. It's like, that I can nurture my children.
Which enclave is your favourite?
I don't do favourites, you know. Both of them. Big love to Falstaffs and big love to Caprices. They're on equal footing.
I'm really sorry to the fan who sent in that question.
I know who it will be. It will be Hayley, and I'm looking right at her now. Yeah, because she's gagging for a fight and she just wants to stir up trouble. I won't say it. I know she's trying to pressure me to say. She's
come at me now.
Falstaff's enclave, but absolutely not Hayley.
That is funny. So are they? Are they in a chat?
Yeah, so it was the first and second wave of my ARC sign-ups, because I've done it in like 3 waves. So the first group, I created a group chat, and then when I rolled out the second wave and opened the books again, all those that signed up, I gave them the option to be part of a group chat. So that was like a different enclave. And then I just, encourage some healthy competition between the both of them, because I get bored sometimes and just like to stir up drama. And that's literally the only law behind it, really. But they're full of beautiful people who I love and adore very much. And I can't pick favourites. They're my children. Yeah, speaking of mums, my mum definitely prefers I was speaking to her about this today. My mum has got everyone fooled, right, on Instagram that she is the sweetest, loveliest, cutest woman ever. You are all being manipulated and they don't know it. No, she's lovely, really. But yeah, she has a dark side. You've been warned.
I think I sussed that out because, okay, so for those who don't know, when we have a guest coming on, we, because this is our first show, no one knows. Whoop, whoop.
I mean, it's going so smoothly and well, like, we look like seasoned pros, don't we?
We did send your questions in for Anavrin, and they obviously came to my account and not Anavrin's, so I was able to see what the questions were, and I already worked out that it was Anavrin's mum who wanted to know if in the second book there would be MM.
She just wants to force my hand to tell you all because she knows. My mum beta reads for me, so she knows all my ideas for book 2 and she knows what goes on. So again,
can you
I can't
divulge
without
anything?
No, because I'm not a fan of telling tropes if they're spoilers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will list tropes as long as I don't think like giving one away is central to the plot of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think once you've read the first book, I don't know if that will still be a question on people's minds, considering what happens. But I don't want to commit to that right now because I want to keep it a bit of a surprise, you know?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd all love Emma.
Although I can say, like, outside of the main dynamic, so the female main character and the male main characters, there will still be there still is an romance between some side characters. So it's still in there, but if they're asking in, you know, regards to Ashara, Dimitri and Lycander, you'll just have to see.
So we've had a slight glimmer of an exclusive there, haven't we?
There you go, yeah.
Your ARC readers are like going,
ding, ding, ding.
So
no, it's just my mum who's asked that question.
How many ARC readers have you now got?
So the number is closing in on 800 now. So
wow.
I've got a few. Yeah, I always said I'd cap it at 800. Well, I originally said 500. And then I was like, why the hell not? I'll just open them one last time.
Because you've just released it, haven't you, to open?
Yeah, it was like, I think just under a week ago, I opened the books. I can't even remember. But hundreds and hundreds have signed up already. So I did say I'm going to close them at 800 purely because I'm a one-woman show and it's a lot to manage, like a lot of admin, a lot of behind the scenes. And because I work as well and, you know, I'm a mum to a young toddler, I just have to set realistic expectations for myself and, you know, what I'm able to handle. So I mean, I'm over the moon that even one person wants to read this book. Like, my original goal was 30, then it was 50, then it was 100, then it was 200, you know? So it's kind of got bigger and bigger and snowballed, which I'm so unbelievably happy about. But I also am aware that, you know, I don't want to make mistakes. And I just think the stakes get so much higher bringing so many more people in. And like when it reaches 800, that's the final cut-off. I'm not doing anymore because I think that's enough. And we'll just see where it goes from there.
I think as well, with you cutting it off, especially because you've done it in 3 sections, it's made people want it more.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
And with you cutting it, it will make, like, they'll have to wait then till the book's released. So then...
Yeah, well, there needs to be some readers to, like, buy it, I suppose, after it's released.
You'll have to have some
Otherwise, I'll just send it out to the world for free, which doesn't bother me. I'm not in this to make money. I mean, oh my God, being a writer is not, you know, the profession to go into if you're after financial gain, because you probably lose more than you get back anyway. It's not about that, is it? It's about gratification in a different sense of, you know, creating something that people enjoy and rave about and talk about. And that's payment in itself, really. My only goal financially is to just probably break even and get back what I've invested in.
Yeah.
But even if that doesn't happen, I will never regret it because I've met some amazing people doing this project and it's been such a creative outlet for me and so good for my brain, and exercising those creative muscles that I hadn't done in years and years and years, that it's all worth it regardless. So anything extra is just like the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah. Are you more of a routine person or like a chaos goblin when it comes to writing?
Well, I have the weirdest personality type. Like, I'm not type A, I'm not type B, I don't think I'm even type C. In some areas of my life, I'm so rigid.
There was a type.
No, like type C is like a weird hybrid between the both of them, which I suppose I am. But I have creature of habit, definitely, and I have my rituals and routine and things like that. But when it comes to writing, it is 100% emotionally driven. And I'm not someone who can set a timer and just sit at a computer and force myself to write words. When it comes, it comes. But obviously that doesn't always pan out because I'm a mum and because I'm work. If inspiration strikes and I'm busy doing either of those two things, it just has to wait. But I wrote this book, so in under 6 months, like you mentioned in your introduction, in the time that my son, who was like 1.5 at the time, was napping and going to bed. So I used those little pockets of time just to squirrel away. And I was lucky that just for such an extended period of time, I just had that continuous inspiration. So almost every session was quite successful because the story was just kind of spilling out of me.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was done. I can't say the same for edits. That has been much more of a slog than, writing the first draft, I think, as is always the case. But I'm definitely a pantser. I'm someone that just sits down and let it takes me, and it does what it does, and I'm unorganized in that sense, definitely.
So you don't plot anything?
No. I have a rough idea.
Nothing?
Like, I know how it's going to end, and I know, like, probably the main events that are going to, like, spur that ending. But
Sure.
yeah, The Blood Plagues was written entirely stream of consciousness.
Do you work forwards or backwards?
I work forwards.
This
I
just
know,
blows
it's
my
mental.
mind.
I know.
See,
Yeah.
I have like an idea of my ending.
Yeah, I think everyone does. I had an idea of the ending, which changed, by the way, about 3-4 times while I was writing it. Yeah. So it didn't, some of my main characters, they completely shifted in direction. Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. I think luckily, you've read obviously part of it. I don't think you can tell it's stream of consciousness. I think when I read it back, it feels really cohesive. And I think actually that's because I let it guide me rather than me guide it. So the pieces did all just slot together quite organically. Obviously, there were a few things I had to go back and change for the sake of continuity and foreshadowing. So if I suddenly had a plot idea, I was like, oh, that can't just pop out of the ground like nowhere. That needs, gradual.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need to like pepper in some hints and some indication that that's going to occur without, shoving it down the reader's throat. But yeah, it wrote itself, basically. I know it sounds really cringe, but I was just like a vessel for it. And I just
the
let
story
it do its thing.
used you.
Pretty much. It came to me in a dream, didn't it? Quite a few people know this, but I had a really vivid nightmare postpartum. My dreams have always been really crazy, but since having a baby, they've tended to take on a really like darker turn. And I think that's because of just the state of the world at the moment. And when you have a kid, you know what it's like, Stu. You just worry about so many more things. Of course you do. Than when you don't have a child. Not that people who don't have a child don't worry about things. Like, of course they do. But you start to have this little person that you care about and you have responsibility for, like, other than yourself. And I think it just fuels those anxieties. And my nightmare was where we live in like a valley, and a tidal wave of blood like crested the hills and was like, pummeling down into the crevice. And I had him in my arms and I was trying to stop him from drowning in this like tide of blood.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the nightmare. Yeah. And then I woke up and what I said to my partner, I had the strangest, weirdest dream. And he was like, you should write a book about it. It's like, yeah, I should. And then that day I wrote the prologue. So, yeah.
Does he ever say to you, that was me that was pushing you to do that?
No, not at all.
No,
so
that's good.
Yeah, he's not like that in that set. Like, he hasn't even read it, to be honest. He listens to me go on and on about it, but he's not a reader at all. Like,
my
his
husband's
mind,
the same.
Yeah, he's a gamer. Like, you can see me on his like dual monitor setup and his LEDs. Like, this is not my aesthetic. I'm just like borrowing his space. But it
she looks stunning though. Like, just put that in.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. I've been at a sip and paint night with some friends and family members. I've come to this a bit tipsy. when I logged on, Stu went to me, oh, you've got a lovely, like, whatever you put on your face is a lovely glow. So it's just sweat and grease. Thank you.
She looks great.
It's just my combination skill doing its thing in the T-zone. Anyway,
Bless you.
what was the question?
We didn't even ask. Okay, so
Yeah, go on.
we'll just link in with the dream and obviously you holding your babes. So growing up, were you encouraged to be creative, or did it feel like something you had to like hide or sneak to do?
That is such an interesting question. My mum is probably the main perpetrator, really, in fostering my creativity. She's a really creative person herself. She says she's not, but she is. She went to art college when she was younger. She's a
Oh,
really
wow.
talented artist and drawer. And we were always, doing like arts and crafts, and like, and when I'd come home from school, like writing stories or poems and just all those small little things. And I think obviously that makes a huge difference into, my hobbies and interests and what I enjoy doing. But I've always just been a massive reader, like ever since I was a young kid. So I think reading kind of channeled the direction of that creativity. And I've always, been drawn into stories and poetry. My granddad wrote a book of poetry, which, it was called A Touch of Life. So he had a stroke when he was, I think it was his early 50s.
Oh,
And he
wow.
lost the ability in his left-hand side, so like his left-hand arm and his leg and everything like that. And he was a really, really active person and struggled with it. So I think the way he got those emotions out was he got himself a computer, like, the old school Microsoft that used to take 3,000 years to log on. Yeah, and he
We've
wrote
all had
himself
one of them.
Yeah. And he wrote himself a book of poems, and reading back on them now, they sound quite childlike, but in the most endearing of ways. Like all of them written in rhyming couplets or having that, really stereotypical rhyming scheme. But that doesn't make it any less powerful. It makes it more so because, he'd never done anything like that before. It was just a way for him to process emotions that a really stoic man, born in the 90s, probably didn't really know how to process. And that's really special to me and was always really inspiring. And then, my school, like I had some amazing English literature teachers, and I think that just, increased the love I have for writing and literature. So I've always dabbled in poetry. Like every birthday and Christmas, those nearest and dearest to me would usually get like a poem or something like little personal, written about them. But I've never written a novel before. This is my first ever novel I've ever written.
Her debut.
My debut, yeah.
And what a corker it is. I mean, you've
Thank you,
got
Stu.
800 people
Nearly,
who...
not yet.
Well, we're going to kiss it. We're going to say
Yeah,
it
all
is.
right.
Because it
Round
will be.
up.
By the time this has gone out, she's probably already hit it. Like, it's amazing. I mean, like, do you create more from desire or discomfort, would you say?
Desire, definitely. I can't write when I'm in a bad place. I'm kind of like the opposite to my granddad. I have to be in a really
So you
good...
don't channel it, yeah.
No, I think the themes that I touch upon do like I do explore the darker aspects of life, and quite a predominant theme in the Blood Plagues is, the difference between kind lives and brutal truths, and, which one in the end is better, with a heavy dosing of, feminine rage and exploring, the problematic nature of the patriarchy. And on a wider scale, I think just institutions of power. Like I've chosen obviously to write about a corrupt theocracy, so it has that religious aspect to it. But I think the grander question is, the people in charge, can we trust what they say? Should we trust what they say? When that kind of mist clears and we discover the truth, what do you then do about it? Like, what are the solutions? But I think quite a few, I'm obviously not the first author to ever explore concepts like this, but I think we really will see a surge of this now in literature. This is why, like, dystopian is making a comeback, isn't it? Like I've heard brilliant things about Daggermouth and a few other dystopian
publishers. And publishers are actually wanting it now.
Yeah, rather than it being unfashionable, because art always does reflect real life. It's always an echo chamber of, it might be fantastical, it might be like made up worlds and magical elements, etc., etc. But the struggles the characters go through and the experiences and the exploration of, what it means to be human is the same. And that's what makes great writing.
Yeah.
You know, more than lyrical prose, more than vocabulary, it's at its heart, it's about, I suppose, making you feel and making you question. Sorry, that got a bit philosophical there. It's the spicy marg. It does this to me.
Is there a version of yourself in any of your characters in the Blood Plagues?
In a little bit in every single one of them,
Yeah, I
I
suppose there
think.
has to be, doesn't there?
It's unavoidable. Like, you cannot separate yourself from the people that you create, even the villains.
Mm,
You know, there's the darkness and the light. I think with authors, you know, my main character, Ashara, she's a lot different than me, I think. Like, some of the decisions she makes wouldn't necessarily be the ones that I make. I think she's probably a better person than me at the end of it. So maybe it's kind of like, no, I do think that's true. I think, you know, sometimes we want to be more active in certain things and, you know, tackle the issues of society, and for whatever reason, you know, we're limited and we can't. And I suppose in literature they don't have those same boundaries, do they, that we do in our real
yeah.
life. So it's a chance to explore what if. But yeah, there's definitely elements of myself in every single one of them, for sure.
What? So just linking that in, what do you hope someone feels after sitting alone with your words then? Like, so let's say they've been given your book, your finished book. It's there, it's ready. They've just been given it. It's come in the post. It's all fandabby, and they've opened it and they start reading it. What what do you hope
I hope they
for
get lost in it as an
mm,
initial impression. I hope the world around them drips away and they become completely immersed in the world I've built and the characters I'm putting to them, because that's a sign of a great book as well, isn't it? When reality ceases to exist and you just kind of want to dive back in again and again. I think after they've read it, it will be a
questionable?
mixture of agonizing despair, but also probably a sense of pride, especially with one of the character arcs in particular, just how full circle she goes. I think a book really has to have that balance, especially, I don't know if you're the same, but if I'm feeling all of those uncomfortable, heavy emotions, which literature should make you feel, like it's
Mm,
not just there to make you feel good and happy and lighthearted all the time, there needs to be that element as well. There needs to be light with the darkness and vice versa, because we drown in either one of them if it's too much. Like, you know, if a book is too low stakes for me and doesn't have, I mean, each to their own, but doesn't have any of those, you know, more negative, unpopular emotions, I tend to get bored. I tend to switch off because, you
yeah.
know, there's no risk for me and I don't feel like it's yeah, emotionally tantalizing enough. Whereas if a book is too dark and too upsetting, that's probably the only times I DNF, is when I feel so sad that I don't feel like I can catch my breath. Do you see what I mean? That there isn't that
Yeah.
balance there.
Yeah.
So I think with the Blood Plagues, I'm hoping that people will feel a balance. It's dark. I'm not going to shy away from that. Some parts of it are really, really dark, but I've also tried to bring the light as well, the humour and the love and the connections in the darkness that hopefully, you know, negate some of those more heavier emotions.
Do you think then, like, do you think what you've just touched on there with the dark and the light, is that what pulls you back in to write more?
Oh, definitely. And when I'm in a bit of a rut, I think that's where I go to. I look at the scene before, like, what's the
Mm,
mood? What's the tone? What's the dominant emotion coming through? How do I need to balance that? Like, what point of view, do you know what I mean, should I switch to and explore next? Because the Blood Plagues is three POVs for the first book. It will be slightly more for the second and third. And each of those voices, I think, carries with it a more dominant emotion. So it was quite a good way of me to switch it up every now and then and have a bit more comedic relief in one, a bit more philosophical in the other, a bit more, do you see what I mean, like shock,
yeah.
etc. in the third one. Yeah, so it's helpful to switch between them, definitely.
I suppose there's like they've got their own running theme then, haven't they, to kind of break it up, and then it gives you that dark,
Yeah.
that light. And I suppose as well, like, I mean, so metaphorically speaking,
Mm.
I always work in metaphors. Like, I just imagine, so when I'm writing, I imagine like a needle and a thread, and you're pulling it tight and you're just doing a little knot, and and then do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, and I
But
think you
Stu,
need
that's
that.
absolutely. And you need the running thread, the continuum all the way through, but you can branch off with that, and you can use different characters and plots to explore, I suppose, the different fibres of that thread, you know, how they all kind of weave together. Look at me with my Ashara's a seamstress as well, so this is really on theme to do like a sewing, like knitting metaphor.
I mean, that was totally intentional.
But yeah, being obviously a literature student and a literature teacher, I think it's been really helpful for me to see where books do this well. Like, I know classical literature isn't as fashionable at the moment. The prose is quite heavy, isn't it? It's dense. We're in an age where, you know, we're scrolling on our phones, looking at 7-second reels. Our brains are no longer wired to be patient and to, you know, wait for and indulge in that kind of heavier description. But what they do really well and what makes them great pieces of literature is because of that continuum with themes. Do you see what I mean? And the foreshadowing and the extended metaphors, and just how, you know, in sync and cohesive the whole text is. And you go away from those classical pieces of literature and you carry with you a message. Like, it's very clear, you know, what they're trying to teach you or what they're about. And I'm not saying modern work doesn't do that. Of course it does. But it just goes about it, you know, in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you ever have like fragile moments when you're writing, being creative, whether that is physically writing or plotting and planning? And if so, like, how do you take care of yourself when you are in those moments?
There are a couple of scenes that I've written, specifically torture scenes in the last scene.
Yeah.
That felt quite emotionally draining to write because, you know, it's not pleasant, and you're exploring human suffering, acute human suffering. And anyone with a degree of empathy will take that, you know, and carry that with them beyond the page.
Absolutely.
I'm lucky that my life resembles absolutely nothing like the characters in the book. Like, overall, I have a huge support system. My family are amazing. My little boy is the best little boy ever. I know every mum says that. I love my job. So I never feel, you know, too emotionally and mentally fragile. Like, I just go back to my reality, and after, you know, a couple of minutes or so, that washes off and I'm okay. In terms of imposter syndrome, I've always been quite self-deprecating. I know I come across maybe as a bit confident and assured, but I assure you that's not what's going on in here. I share that with, I know it's a common thing amongst writers. We're like, oh my God, will anyone actually want to read this? Like, am I shit? And I'm the only one that, you know, sees the value in this story. And those little voices come to me all the time. Like, I always have that panic. I've got it now, like, I've sent out my first 10 chapters. And like, a little part of me, like, what if they're the only good part of the book? Like, what if the rest of it is absolute, like, garbage fire, and they're going to read it and think, what the hell? And I get,
they
really
won't. You know they won't.
The voices say they will.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, I do get it.
Yeah.
I do get it. I mean, I'm nowhere as, like, obviously I'm writing too, and I'm not as far as you in terms of like sending any of my work out. But I still feel sick when someone says, can I just read some? And I'm like, oh, you really
Because
don't want
it's
to.
your soul on a page. Like, it is you in your rawest form that they're judging you on. So it feels immensely personal. It often isn't personal. Even, like, I know I'm going to get critique. You know, a part of me is looking forward to it. Like, I feel like it's a rite of oh no. I think being in my career that I don't usually explicitly talk about, because I try and keep, you know, those two things quite separate.
Yeah.
But like, I'm critiqued on the daily by probably the harshest audience in the world. So I've developed quite like a thick skin in that sense, and it's like water off a duck's back half the time. But with writing, it just feels so much more personal, doesn't it? It feels like when they're going to come for you, they're coming, you know, for your heart. And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It is terrifying. But, you know, I'll handle it. Like, it's part of the process, and it's part of, you know, if you're going to put yourself out there, you've got to expect the good with the bad.
Yeah.
So I think I'm mentally prepared for that. And I did say to my partner, like, when I get my first 1 star, let's go out for a meal. Let's get drunk. Let's have a 3-course dinner. Let's celebrate it. Yeah. And just turn like a negative into a positive, basically.
I love this.
Some of my favourite all-time 6-star reads have some absolutely diabolical reviews, you know, and I love them. I think they're flawless. Yeah, you know, one person's yuck is another yum and vice versa.
Of
So you
course,
can't please
yeah.
everyone. You can't please everyone.
Well, no, but when they're giving 1 stars and they literally are putting things like, I mean, I'm not going to read my own reviews. I've made that pact with myself because I am nowhere near strong enough. I know I won't, and I'll find out who they are and I'll want to go and hunt them down.
I say I won't, but I 100% will. I do not have that willpower. If we haven't established that already, I do not possess self-discipline. It's just not one of my fortes. So, yeah, I'm not setting any expectations on myself because I will break them and I will just disappoint myself. My mum will come after people. Like, I'm going to have to leash her in because she's allowed to critique me, but no one else is allowed to critique me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, but when an author's given a 1 star by someone who has just read their book and they've gone, didn't like the character, 1 star, and I'm like,
A
there
1
is so
star
much
to me, it's a different
more.
criteria. A 1 star to me is unreadable.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't get through it because it's so patchy and inconsistent and, you know, grammatically incorrect and there's spelling errors anywhere and it's taking you out the story.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't like a book, because what I don't like might not be what someone else. Do you see what I mean?
But yes, but I'm a firm believer in always expressing what you weren't too keen on, because actually what someone isn't keen on, someone may love. Like, I really like fast-paced stories, books, but then occasionally I'll go, do you know what, I really fancy a slow burn.
Yeah.
I'll look to see when people say, oh, it's too slow, and I'm like, perfect, that's what I'm looking for, and I'll have it.
Yeah. Your mood changes, and what you like one week, you might not fancy the next.
Oh, hun.
Yeah, absolutely.
My mood's hourly. Like, my family are aware of this. Like, hourly. Where are we now?
Same. It all depends on, you know, various things. Time of day, for example, my hormonal cycle, the phase of the moon, all of it affects how pleasant I'm going to be on any given day. So I get it.
Have I had a wee? When was the last time I ate some food?
Oh
Have
my
I
God,
had a drink?
hunger. Yeah. Me hangry is just another beast entirely. You've got to feed me. You've got to feed me. And then I'm the people's princess if I'm well fed.
Yes.
If I'm hungry, me on a diet is just, I'm a deeply unpleasant human being to be around.
Oh, it's bad, isn't it, how we're controlled by food?
Yeah. I was just about to tell you something deeply personal.
That's not. Anyway, so
okay.
Not unless you want half a bloody YouTube to find out.
I'll DM you privately.
Yeah. One of them. We're going to wind them all up now because you can DM me privately and they're not going to know what it's about. God. Right. So we've talked about like things that we are learning, obviously our craft. Is there anything that you're currently unlearning? Ooh.
God. Overusing similes.
I think we all do that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Overusing similes. What was the other thing that I noticed I did quite a lot? It's so funny because when I started writing, I got to about halfway through the book and my voice really took on a diction of its own. And I noticed such a contrast between the latter half versus the first half, which is why I went back and most of my edits were concentrated in those first like 20, 25 chapters. Because you just pick up little habits, don't you? And you work out what's working with the rhythm and the sentence variety and, you know, showing, not telling and all of those things and different unique ways to describe emotions and things like that. So writing a book has made me a better writer, if that makes any sense, because it's 100%. Almost like training yourself.
Yeah.
And the more you exercise and the more you practice, just the same with anything, the better you get at it. So I unlearned a lot of things. It was a huge learning curve. And beta reading was also massively helpful because encountering other people's work and having their opinions and like that bounce back to and forth, was one of the best things I ever did. And encountering, you know, fantastic stories, different styles of writing as well, which is so lovely. Like I haven't read anything that sounds the same. Like everyone has like such a uniqueness to their voice, which is really beautiful because it will resonate with someone out there.
Yeah.
The original question is, what are you unlearning? I suppose I'm unlearning to think, you know, again, referencing my career, that there's one set way to write something, and that one set way is the best way or the good way, because actually there's room here for thousands of different voices, you know, and tones
Of
and
course,
styles.
yeah.
And that's actually what makes reading so exciting, is one book is, you know, not like the last, that diversity.
And there's that saying, isn't there, that there's only actually 6 stories in the whole world, but actually it's different voices and tones and writing styles that change.
Nothing's new anymore. It's about how well you
Mm,
execute the reinvention. There's not an original thought ever now. We've done it all.
yeah, yeah,
But we do have the potential still for amazing, refreshing, you know, stories, because it's about how people tell those stories
yeah.
and how they choose to, you know, address those elements and redesign them in their own unique way.
And with like a reader as well, they do the hardest part of the story, because actually they're imagining it. So you're putting the path in play and they're seeing everything else. So I think as long as they can see in
We've got to
their
trust our readers, don't we? And that's another thing
yeah.
as well, like learning to trust the reader and knowing, like, you don't have to shove things down their throats. They are intelligent people. They'll be able to come up with conclusions on their own. And I do like giving, this is what I've always said about, so people were talking to me a lot at the moment about the cover. Like, I'm sure we'll get onto that later. But there are some beautiful covers out there with people's faces on them. I'm not saying there aren't. I've just bought one, Graceless Heart. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
Stunning. It's like set in Renaissance Italy. It's gorgeous. But with my own work, I've always been of the notion that I don't want a face on the cover. And the reason why is because I don't want to create that initial impression of my main character straight away before they've read it. Like, I'd still do character art if people were interested and they wanted to go, you know, look at my profile, etc., as
Yeah.
an interpretation. But I just love the idea of, you know, that character is yours as much as it is mine. It's the death of the author. When I give you my work, I no longer exist. It's, you know, your own unique story and your
Mm.
own unique world and characters that you'll create just through, you know, my insinuations. So I really wanted people to, you know, have the room to do that first before maybe they, you know, their impressions are altered based on art.
So have you chosen a cover?
So I had a yap with the cover artist for about 2.5 hours. Not last night, the night before. We went down a rabbit hole of San Sebastian. We both just hyper focus on like religious iconography and religious art in particular. She is fantastic. She's called Mandarina Art. If anyone
Nice.
was interested. Yeah, her paintings are
If you
digital. Yeah.
if you give me her handle at the end and
Yeah.
I'll drop it below.
Yeah, she paints digitally like you would see in an oil painting, like with the brush
Beautiful.
strokes and things like, yeah. And I just remember I stumbled across her page before the book was even written, like during when I was writing it, I was like, oh my God, I love this. I didn't think in a million years I'd actually, you know, have her doing my cover. But I sent her like loads of inspiration, particularly from the Renaissance. I have a fixation with the colours used. There's something called Rabiah blue, which is a very specific blue that's usually used to depict, you know, Jesus's mother, the Virgin Mary. Do you know what blue I'm talking about when I mention
Yeah,
that now? That,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I know with the blood plagues, the sound of that title, you'll probably immediately go to like red, don't you? And like blacks and greys and that very like gothic colour palette. But I just think when you read this book, I don't think that's necessarily the vibes. There's just, it does suit a more brighter colour palette with that darkness like embedded in. We were just talking about like contrast, light and dark again. And
Yes,
the idea
yes.
that on the surface, you know, something looks very harmonious and angelic and beautiful, but there's that rotten core to it. There's something, you know, rancid. There's something underneath it that doesn't feel right. There's something feels wrong. So I know that's super vague and that doesn't tell you anything about what's
No,
going on the cover,
but
but
I
that's the mood we were going for.
I do think there's psychological aspects there, because if it is let's say it is light, it's stunning. You're going to pick that book up. It's going to be light. It's going to be airy. You're going to open it, and just the word blood plagues anyway even puts like those thoughts into your
You have your
brain.
assumptions, don't you, though, don't you?
Yeah.
With the word the blood plagues, you think of medieval Europe, you think of the Black Death, you think about, you know,
So having that
famine
contrast
and
actually
yeah.
really just, I think it beautifies it. And I think it's stunning, and it's a brilliant idea. And
Thank you. We'll
I
see.
cannot
I know it's going to be
wait.
gorgeous. Whatever she makes is going to be fantastic. But she's doing like 3 sketches. So I had an original idea that she's going to, you know, draw a mock-up of. Then she said
Sure.
she's going to do like a hybrid of, you know, what she's thinking and what I'm thinking and like a middle ground. And then she said, can you let me just like do what I've got in my head as like a third option? I was like, yeah, go for it. Because I'm happy to be surprised, you know, and like
Yeah.
I'm not making any assumptions at this point. It could be any of those 3.
But you've just got to trust.
Oh yeah, like oh my God, I'm no artist. Like I'm happy to put that in the hands of it. Did you see what I did at the sip and paint with my mum and stuff tonight?
I
I've
saw
got to
the
show you.
background.
I called her the faceless lady because I can't do faces. Ready?
I think it's really good. I think it's lovely. I mean, she's emotionless.
She is. Maybe it's a metaphor, you know? Exactly. A metaphor for the reader's experience of, you know, embellishing
Yes.
themselves upon the character. We'll use that rather than I just can't paint a nose,
Yeah.
which is the real reason.
Who needs a nose? Just put eyes. Just do the eyes and some little tiny lips.
Absolutely.
That's all you need.
Windows to the soul.
Right. What are you currently reading?
Nothing, because I don't have time, which I know is awful. I will admit that I did pick up Heated Rivalry and like binged that within 2 nights because I watched the show and then was like, I don't want this to end because otherwise I'm going to be deeply depressed.
Feed me more.
So I was just like, give me something. I was like a crack addict, just like one small morsel of
Give me
Ilya
some
Rozanov.
man.
Yeah, just like gay hockey, just inject it in me. It was absolutely feral. But yeah, so I did read that. But yeah, at the moment, my free time is spent doing podcasts. I'm joking. Or I've got quite a lot of like side projects with my book. So obviously it's not just the novel, is it? Like I've got to be thinking of like the map and the glossary. I have what I call insertational scenes. I said this to my editor, like I've been thinking about these things I want to add to the book. I'm not sure where. But if you keep an eye out for it, like she's looking, do you see what I mean? For like good entry points to like pepper those in. So I've been working on those. So yeah, I'm kind of doing all of like the side projects. And Stu, marketing a book takes so much time. And like I love doing it because I get to chat to some amazing people. But like, you know, the time it takes to make posts and publish them and ensure you're present enough to, you know, the algorithm doesn't ignore you and just like flops each and every single one. A lot goes into that. And like, they didn't warn me about that, you know, being a marketing manager, it's probably at the moment where I spend 60% of my free time. So
it's crazy, isn't it? And the thing is, like, social media is so fast.
Yeah.
You if you're not in there, you just get lost and you just get pushed back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need. I think you're doing a cracking job. I mean, I'm
Well,
going
thank
to
you.
I'll put your handle in the bottom in the description bar so everyone can check you out. So you're not reading anything. So you're not writing anything at the minute.
I'm doing the side projects to my book, really. While it's in the hands of the editor, I'm not allowed to touch it. She was like, don't go near it, just leave me alone. So I was like, okay.
Right.
I won't.
Rules.
And I'm one of those that will just fiddle and fiddle and fiddle. Like, I can rewrite a paragraph about 20, 30 times and I'm still not fully happy with it. Yeah, I think the words you choose are just as important as their placement. So it's all about, like, you know, reading it back and the rhythm. And I really try to get that, you know, the most powerful way to express it for every single bloody sentence, which is why editing takes me so long compared to, like, you know, actually writing it. I do have an idea for a book that I want to do after this trilogy. That I've been kind of just squirreling away at and thinking about more than anything.
Can you tell us anything?
Well, it will be about a prisoner of war who writes to his wife where he's incarcerated, and they have this correspondence, and the whole first book is going to be in the... Sorry, here's my waiter. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you text him?
Yeah.
I'm thirsty. Why aren't I doing this? I've run out. Drink.
We have butler service here.
Drink.
Just so you know. Oh, that's crisp. It's lovely. It's calming me down.
When I saw you on your phone,
Anyway.
I thought, rude. And then, oh, no.
It's just, I would just text him
Drink.
and he texted me back because I was like trying to do it really, really quickly. He texted me back saying rude because I didn't even say please. I was like, drink now.
God,
I'm lucky he knows
really
me
up.
so well and he got me a wine. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, so A Prisoner of War, and the entire novel was in the epistolary form. So it's letters.
God,
the
my
whole
face.
thing is letters.
My face is hurting.
I don't know at this point if it's my pink LEDs or I'm just as red as a tomato because I feel the heat radiating from within.
You can change colour. It's fine. I'm going to keep all this in. This is like comedy gold. This is like perfect. Change the colour.
Wait, should we toy around with these a little bit? Yeah, sunburn. It's just sunburn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the red. I've been on a sunbed too. Have you ever been on a sunbed?
I have.
I used to do all of those like when I was younger. Absolutely ruined my skin. There we go. Better?
Yeah.
Bit of a
just
yellow
take some
moment?
collagen, you'll be fine.
Collagen? Really?
Yeah, just take it. You'll be all right.
That's what I'm going to use all the money from my book profits on. Botox.
So
Just
everyone needs to go out and buy one when they...
Yeah.
Have you got a release date?
No. So I do. So in theory, it's
But
going to
she
be the
can't tell you.
17th. No, I can. So it's going to be the 17th of April. That's when I'm hoping. But
This
it's
year?
Yeah.
Mate, we're nearly in March.
I know, which is why it might be the ARC release date. So the 17th of April is going to happen regardless because I'm throwing a huge party and I've got this giant owl lantern and like we've got a venue and stuff like that and it's going to be amazing. But
Oh my God.
if the book is still, if it takes me a bit longer to edit than I'm predicting, that'll be the day I roll out the ARCs and then like a month later, roll it out to the general public. Sorry, I'm just going to, I was going to hiccup. I'm going to be sick. I'm not. I'm fine. There we go. I'm all good. I need the butler to come in with a fan like I'm an emperor and just feed me grapes, you know. But yeah, so 17th of April is going to be the date to keep an eye out for.
Oh
but yeah,
my
I just
God.
don't know if that's general yet or whether that's ARC.
Wow, I'm excited. I'm super
Thank you.
excited. Oh, I
Thank you.
can't. Oh, it's just
I'm
the
excited. I feel like I've
imagery,
been
it's the
edging
words.
people for so long. Like I've been doing this since September and like my stamina is nearly at an end. Like that's months now of blue balling the shit out of about 800 people. And I haven't got it in me. I can't do
Yeah,
much
that's a lot of
longer.
people. At least they're all coming to you, though. Oh my
I'm nothing if not a
gosh.
quitter, you know? So, but yeah,
Well, it's just-
I'm so excited to send it out into the big wide world and have people read it in its entirety because so many people have sent me their theories, you know, what they think is going on and what's happening.
Oh, I love
And
that.
no one has got it right yet. No one. So it's, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
So all of the ARC readers that are watching this need to drop in the comments some more potential scenarios,
Yeah,
endings.
how do you think the Blood Plagues is going to end, basically? But it won't end there because it will be 3 books. So, you know, there's book 2 and book 3
my
to go.
God.
But yeah.
They're just these poor ARC readers, honestly.
Mhm.
Right. Any writing advice that you'd give potential newbies, those wanting to get into it, those already in it and feel a little bit underwhelmed, lost?
Get yourself out of a rut by doing things out of your everyday routine in the ordinary. When I was writing the book, oh my God, it helped me so much to be in a public space. I go to this place called the Art Club. It's like a coffee/bar. And they're really lovely down there. They do great coffee, great matcha. And just observing people And having like, I know this sounds really weird, but like half the building is windows. So it's like full of natural light, and it just felt invigorating rather than being, I have this office, which is quite like a dark, cozy space, or I work on like my sofa. We live in a pretty rough area. Like if I look out the window, all I can see are like rats and bins. And it's just not the most like inspiring, landscape. To not like the Romantics had, when they went out to the Cotswolds or to the Peak District. So yeah, that definitely helped, shake up my brain. Brainstorming, if you've got someone to brainstorm with, that's always a really good shout. And luckily my good friend Louise, maybe she's watching this, maybe she won't, she used to come round, we used to have a bottle of wine and we just yap about it, and like you find that ideas just come up organically and it gets you excited and like ready to write again. And what I would say is don't give up, like just write. It can be, that's fine. Like your first draft is meant to be a bit it would be worrying if it wasn't. You can write it first, make it good later. You can always go back and edit and rearrange things. But when that story's on a page, that's the first time it's ever been there. Like no one's ever written that before. That's completely and uniquely you. Yeah. And there'll be someone out there that wants to hear it, So
there's a market for everything.
Going. Of course there is. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are reading like doorknob smut now. Have you seen that? The man who turns into a door. I think it's literally called Unhinged.
What?
And like, again, is it Laura or Hayley? One of you.
Is this another dream?
Keeps recommending me a book called Pounded by Produce, where two priests turn into vegetables and then just like boink each other. Like someone genuinely sat down and was like, yeah, I'm going to turn a religious clergy member into an aubergine and give him it just like there's a story out there for everything. And people like it, so like kudos to them. I tell you what,
it will be number one on Amazon in some form of chart.
It will, on some like niche, like sub, genre.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for vegetables. Someone needs to write one about, I don't know, like
wine with a
wind and grind.
My gosh. Well, I definitely didn't send you that.
No, but it was one of my ARC readers because they are a bunch of unhinged maniacs and I wouldn't have them any other way, to be honest. They're fabulous.
I will just add in there that trying to get your own people, like there are communities out there, there are writers groups, there are Instagram, it's just full of them. Just find them, and even if you just put a post out, they will come to you and they will fend you, feed you, water you, and they will guide you to where you need to go. And the first step is always the hardest, which is just reaching out and just speaking to other people that
putting
are in the
yourself
same
out
position.
there and having that like bravery. Like I know this makes me sound like a complete grandma and a dinosaur, but Facebook was one of the first places I turned to in the writers groups and communities. I mean, you've got to be careful on there because you get a lot of like, editors and, scam artists just looking to make a cheap buck out of like writers who are desperate with like hybrid publishing and whatever that is. But there was a women's group specifically that I was part of that I found to be very supportive and actually genuinely have a lot of,
nice,
really amazing people there. And that's where I met the majority of my beta readers. So I had a team of about 8 of them in the end, all women apart from Jeff. Shout out Jeff, the osteopath, who love Jeff. Yeah, he was great. And, those beta readers, I consider them really good friends now. Like a few of them are like coming to the UK for like the book launch. I talk to them probably every day or every other day. And they've written some amazing things as well. And like if I didn't make that one post, which was like, hey, I'm writing a book about a tidal wave of blood that kills a little child and like, men make a religion out of it. Does anyone, vibe with this and want to come read about it? And luckily there was some odd people like myself out there that were like, yeah, that sounds my jam. And we just formed like this weird, unique trauma bond together. And here we are, all these months later. Right. And even like our writers group on...
Well, yeah, we're in one. That's how we met.
Instagram. That's how we met. Exactly.
It is how we met.
Which is a great community of just, people sharing ideas in a space to kind of all be in the thick of it together, really, and just help each other out.
Right. you've got 30 seconds to pitch your book, all work in progress, but we'll do your book.
Yeah.
No pressure. It's meant to be fun, and go.
Okay. Well, I kind of just did that, didn't I, in the previous thing? It is about literal plagues of blood rising from the ground, turning everyone who touches them into something called bloodstone. And yeah, because men will make a religion out of anything, they choose to make a religion about this. And I suppose it's about that evolution and oppression, repression, what happens when a woman is pushed to the edge so much that she, breaks. It's feminine rage, it's dark, it's moody, it's gothic in some senses. I wouldn't call it gothic literature, but it definitely leans into some, tropes consistent with that genre. It's good fun. It's a wild ride. There are twists and turns you will not see coming. And it has 2 MMCs. Just saying. So, yeah.
Thank you. That was a minute.
That was terrible, actually, but, it's done.
No,
it is what it
good.
is. Enjoy it. There you go, beast.
Cheers.
Cheers, Stu.
Ching.
Cheers.
I'm out. I'm
eyes. This was so much fun.
Oh, well, thank
How
you
do you
so
think it
much.
went?
Oh, we haven't. Oh, really good.
Oh, I thought we finished. I thought that was the last segment. Sorry.
I'm going to thank you now.
Cut.
I'm keeping all this in. Like, I have to. Well, thank you so much. You have been an amazing first guest, and I wish you all of the luck in the world with the blood plagues.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely just to yap to you, to be honest. But how long have we been talking? For over an hour. Feels like no time's gone by at all.
I know. It's wild, and I don't even need a wee.
No, neither do I. It means I'm going to be weeing all night, though, doesn't it? Like it's building, and I'll get no peace or no rest from it in the middle of the night. But I've had so much fun. I'm available for weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs. So whenever you've got an event, let me know.
Blood plagues.
Yeah. Anything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you later, Stu.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. See you next time.